will be not. It's not like what is it? Not that rough on them. But that's the point, So I use these templates, because I do not know. I do not want to start from scratch. And it's the same in your actual exam. What happens here is a lot of people, mostly, would memorize a template for essays and letters and report writing, which is actually not good. Okay? Why? Because the examiners are trained to spot a template. I would know a template as well because I'm also teaching templates for lower levels, lower English levels, wherein most of the time I only recommend templates for people who only need 5. Okay, so the 5 score, as you know, all of you, is higher than that. You can reach higher than that. So you already know your skills, But imagine people who are struggling to get 5s, wherein their level would be mostly in the pre-intermediate level, okay, or beginner level or elementary level. Okay, so this is only for them. But for you, you don't need templates. Why? Because if the examiners determine that what you're writing is a template, you use a template throughout the whole test, they're just going to give you 5. Okay? They're going to mark it, this is a template. Just 5. Yes, depending. They're not going to read it anymore. This is going to give you 5. Even if your level is good.
But if the lowest score, or we can get less.
You can get less than that. You can check there. You can check there in the list on the wall. Yeah, but don't worry about it. I'm sure you've had a lot of practice tests already for, let's say, reading, listening, for some writing. I've given you remarks as well on your writing. That's all you know. Okay. Okay, but this is the point. So as much as possible, using templates is okay as long as you're not going to memorize everything. Okay, but only just a few parts. Let's just say you got interested in using the first sentence. So the template that I usually teach starts with the argument. It will be like the argument over whether, and then insert main idea, and then this idea is still under debate. It's the first sentence already. Okay, but for you, just stick to what I'm teaching you. Just paraphrase. Anyway, you'll be fine. Okay? You don't need to follow that template. All right. Okay, so there. The last box this time would be eligible. Okay, this is for paper-based tests. Okay, and it's not only about handwriting. Okay, so it's not only about handwriting. Okay, but mostly it would also be about the content. If what you're trying to write is making sense, is leading to something, you're not just writing the topic. You're leading it to something else. Like for example, smoking. The topic for smoking. Smoking should be banned in public places. So, in your essay, for instance, you explain why it should be banned, and then you mentioned there that how to say? Hold on, I got lost. Okay. You mentioned it there that the effects related to health. So you're not just writing all of these ideas and then just writing them down. You're going to piece them together to form the main idea, which is why the government should start banning smoking in public areas. You're not just writing because it's cancerous, because it's causing deadly diseases, because of this. You have to turn it into a narrative. Okay, it's there. Okay, so those are the other 6 boxes. So this time, let's proceed to the first writing criteria, which is your TA or task achievement. Now take note. Task achievement would be for task 1 writing. For essays, it's still the same, but they're going to call it task response. Okay, so the only difference between task 1 and task 2 under task achievement or task response is the word count. Okay, and then the layout. Okay, so let's start with that. Okay, the first one under task achievement. So under this, the first thing that they're going to do is, of course, they're going to check the word count. So for essays, the minimum has to be 305. Sorry, 250, I should say. Minimum should be 250 words. Maximum would be 308. Okay, 308. But in reality, there's actually no maximum word count. We only put a limit here. We only mentioned 308. Why? Because this is the maximum that you have to write. Okay, because chances are, for people who have written more than, let's say, 320 words, if it exceeded to 320 words or even 300 words, most of the time the ideas are being repetitive already. It's turning into a very long narrative, and it's too much in detail. Wherein it doesn't even you don't even need to explain a lot of things just to prove your point. Once you've proven your point in that particular area, then you'll be fine already. Okay. All right. So there. As for your task one this time, minimum word count would be 150. Maximum would be 180 for task one writing. Okay. So there. If, for example, if it's less than the minimum, of course, like what I mentioned, decided penalty in terms of point deduction. Okay. Still under task achievement, make sure that whatever you're writing, you have to provide a complete answer or a holistic answer. What do you mean holistic answer? Basically, everything is covered. If it's asking you, let's just say the topic, like what I've written there, for instance, the topic happiness is considered very important in life. Why is it difficult to define, and what factors are important in achieving happiness, right? So that's the topic that I chose, that I've written. So if, for example, I forgot, I did not explain why is it difficult to define, then of course it's not a complete answer anymore. Because see, in these topics, these are the topics that the examiners are asking you to explain, to give your opinion about it. So if, for example, you miss on a few, these areas in your writing, then your task achievement, expect that your score for task achievement will be lower because you didn't cover everything. Okay, so you have to be careful. Now, how to avoid this? Okay? In order for you to avoid this mistake, then you can refer to this, the 4-step guide. Okay? So make sure that during brainstorming, the second step, brainstorming, make sure to cover everything here. So in order for you to understand everything as well, make sure to read it. Read it thoroughly. Why is it difficult to define? Then ask yourself, why is it difficult to define? What are the factors in achieving happiness? What are the factors in achieving your own happiness? Then write it down. That way, once you've written everything down, you'll be covering everything anyway. Okay, it's there. Okay. Next up, it says here the third one under task achievement is make sure that you would be covering the whole question, like what I mentioned earlier, and then you also need to identify the task, whether it's an argument type of essay or a discussion type of essay, or the layout that you're going to use. So just in case you're wondering, if you haven't had any lectures for those essays, what is the difference between the two? So the difference between the two types of essays is, for argument type of essays, argument is always going to ask you whether you agree or disagree. Okay? So argument essays needs to have 3 body paragraphs. Okay? So the layout would always be, first paragraph is the introduction. Okay? And then second, third, and fourth paragraph, these 3 are the body paragraphs. These are the main paragraphs. Okay? Wherein it's going to support your statement. Because for argument essays, it's always going to ask you to agree or disagree with the topic. So depending on your opinion, if you agree with the topic, then you have to fully support it by giving 3 opinions, 3 supporting details about why you agree. Okay. After that, the last paragraph this time will be conclusion. Okay. In your discussion type of essays this time, you only need 4. Okay. So what's the difference between the two? The difference here is, for argument essays, The body paragraph would contain a supporting opinion, why you agree or why you disagree. Okay, for discussion type of essays, for they're going to give you two sides, and then you just need to explain. So it's more of an explanation type of essay for discussions. Okay, just from the word itself, discuss, discussion. As for argument, you're going to support your argument. Okay, why you agree. Okay, so there. Either way, as long as what you're trying to write is making sense, then you don't have any, you don't need to worry about what you're writing. Hmm. If you're going to, okay, I see. It would depend on your point of view. For some people, they find argument essays easier. For me, if you're going to ask me, my favorite is discussion because I don't need to think about why I agree or because sometimes I'm a lazy person. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm a lazy person. I don't want to prove my point, okay, because of an argument. So I just want to discuss. Okay, so, but for other people, I've encountered a lot of people wherein they're struggling for in constructing a discussion. Other times, it's the same with me. They like discussion more. So I'll ask both of you. For both of you, you haven't had any essays for lecture for essays, right? Not yet.
Yeah.
You did one. Which one? Let me check. Oh yeah, you're right. The first session discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but anyway, don't worry about it. How about for both of you? Both of you, you like both? Like both?
I need to say.
Oh, you don't like both? Okay, okay.
For me, both are same.
Okay, I thought you're going to say both are fine.
I don't like anyone. I like result only.
Okay, how about for you? Mhm. I see, I see. Because the thing about these topics, if you're going to classify each and every topic that could come up in your actual exam, there would be a lot. There would be like a total of six. Sometimes some people would say 10 kinds of topics, but you just need to remember the layouts that I'm teaching you, because these layouts can be applied to all of the topics, basically. And as long as you just need to remember for argument essays, it's always going to ask you to agree or disagree. Other types of essays, whether it would be a advantage disadvantage type of essay, problem solution type of essays, question types, positive, negative, what else? Discussion, opinion, and so on. Yeah, cause and effect. Yeah, that's problem solution. Yes, discussion still. And you just need to, just remember that, the layout. Okay, so there, right? But anyway, where are we? Going back. So make sure to distinguish between the two anyway. For those of you who haven't had any or who haven't finished the two types of layout that I'm teaching, just attend one. Okay, if you can, for on site, if you can attend tomorrow's session and then on Thursday, I should say, I will be talking about these layouts. Okay, for online, Thursday would be argument essay. It's the same. Thursday for online on site, argument essays. Okay, tomorrow discussion. So if you want a real lecture about discussion type of essays, then you can come tomorrow. Okay. So there. Now, one more thing. Under your task achievement, okay, other than they're going to check your layout, make sure as well that you have avoided repetition. Okay, when it comes to words or ideas. Okay, so there. Any questions? Task achievement. All right, let's continue with the 4 C's this time. I mentioned earlier it's only CC, cohesion, coherence, but actually there are 4 C's. Okay. Okay, so the first C is talking about coherence. Okay, so what does coherence mean? Okay, so basically under coherence, make sure that whatever you have written, everything is organized because this is the most important thing. Okay, now how will you organize your essays? So basically, you just need to follow the layout that I'm teaching you together with the 4 steps. So first step, find out the type. Second step is to brainstorm. And that way you can organize everything. If you still remember your writing before you join us, I'm sure I've seen all of your writing, but I cannot remember which ones you wrote. So what happens here is you would notice there's no layout, okay, no introduction. You just clearly stated, just answered directly. Okay? If you're going to do that in your actual exam, of course, you would get in trouble. Okay? You would expect that you're going to get a lower score rather than, from your actual level. So make sure that, just remember the layout that I'm teaching you and then just organize them, organize everything. You always have to remember that each paragraph should link well with each other. And at the same time, these set of paragraphs, we call them paragraphing. Okay, make sure that each paragraph contains the main point. Okay, and it has its own specific role, specific idea. Okay, so what do you mean? Going back, so the layouts that I'm teaching you, first paragraph would always be your introduction. Okay, the role of your introduction is to simply introduce whatever you're writing. It's like a short explanation about the overall content of what you're writing, or what the writer or what the reader would expect in your essay. Treat this, imagine that introduction would be like comparing it to films, movies. So your overall essay would be the overall film. Your introduction would be similar to movie trailers. So before a movie gets released, of course, if you're excited to watch a film or a movie, whatever it may be, there will be a trailer. They're going to release a trailer in order for the viewers or the people to get excited. And it will be the same, the exact same thing as in your essay, wherein introduction would act as a trailer. It's not going to reveal everything. It's the same. You don't need to explain a lot of things, just simply to introduce and give a glimpse of what the reader might expect in your writing. Okay. And then the body paragraph, of course, body paragraph would be the overall film itself. The last paragraph would be your conclusion. It's like a short summary, wherein, if you're going to think about it, summarization of the movie, it's like I'm going to ask you, after you watch the film, so what happened overall in the film? And then you're just going to explain, what happened briefly. You're not going to, of course, you're not going to spend a lot of time explaining what happened at the start and then going to the end. You're just going to summarize it for me. And it will be the same in your conclusion. You're just going to summarize what you've seen. In this case, in your essays, you're just going to summarize what you've written. Okay, so these are the rows of these paragraphs. Make sure that for the body paragraphs, they're well linked together. What does it mean? Even if you have 3, for example, argument essays. Argument essays needs you to need to give 3 supporting opinions. Okay, in your writing or whatever your opinion may be. Okay. But going back to what I was saying, your body paragraphs, okay, even if they're talking about different ideas, okay, different opinions, okay, make sure that they're still talking about the main idea itself. Okay, what is this main idea? Okay, the topic. So whatever you're writing, going to the topic, smoking should be prohibited. Smoking should be banned in public places. This is the main topic, right? Okay. So, and then it's going to ask you, do you agree or disagree? And then you mentioned you agree. Okay. So under your body paragraph, you're going to support why you agree, which is you're going to explain the causes of smoking, secondhand smoking, for instance, or under the effects of their health. So the main point in the first body paragraph is talking about health, but it's talking about the overall point, which is why it has to be banned. And this is the point. This is the thing when it comes to your cohesion. Oh, sorry, coherence, I should say. Okay. So this is what it means when it says it's well linked together, and at the same time you're ordering them in order of importance. So meaning the first body paragraph would always contain the main point of your essay. Okay, the main point, not exactly the main point, but the strongest point, okay, in your essay. Okay, so there. Okay, so any questions under your coherence? This time, let's move on to cohesion. So, just from the name itself, cohesion, cohesive. So, it sticks. It sticks to it sticks to each other. Cohesive materials. Like glue and everything is the same. So this time under your coherence, they're going to check. Sorry, cohesion, I should say. Make sure that every sentence would lead to the next sentence or the next idea. So that means the usage of your sentence connectors and your cohesive devices. Okay. So I've seen a lot of writing wherein there's really a lack of cohesive devices and sentence connectors. Okay, make sure that for some ideas that can be connected, you can connect them. Okay, do not just end a statement with a period and then write another sentence. Okay, and then another period and then another sentence. Some sentences can be connected together. Okay, to improve the quality and the structure as well. So what you can do what you can do here is you can check the PDF copy, the PDF file that I have given you all, the We Know IELTS Better book. Okay, so the We Know IELTS Better book, you would see it on page 159. Where's my book? Okay. So page 159. A physical page for PDF page, I think it's 162 or 160 something, and something around that range. Okay, you would see a table for cohesive devices. So,
It's 162.
162. Okay. All right. So, what is this? What is cohesive devices? Basically, these words, I'm sure you're very familiar with all of these words, but the problem here is we do not know how to use them yet. Right? You've come across it in a magazine, maybe, or in study material when you were still in a university. Okay, but the problem here is, we do not know how to use it. So this is a perfect chance for you to try and experiment, maybe add these cohesive devices, expand. Instead of just using the conventional way, the traditional way of giving examples. The word for example is overused already. So change it to for instance. Change it to namely, to name a few in particular. Okay? So that way, you'll be impressing the examiner as well because I'm sure I know for all of you, you're familiar with these words. I know you can use them, but the thing here is these words do not come in our mind while we're writing. So you can start as early as now while you still have the chance. So try your best to just add even like write a few sentences, and then just add these words. If for example you want to mention a sequence, the most common word would be firstly. You can change it. You can improve on it by starting with initially to begin with, then next, followed by this. Instead of saying first, second, third, which is okay actually. It's much better to put a sequence on everything. Okay, but the thing here is you can further improve on that area, okay, by using these words. And then finally, to end. Okay. So, yes, so what else? If you're talking about something in contrast, then you can say, however, nonetheless, what else? Alternatively, in contrast, instead, although, you can mention like if you want to add something else, instead of saying and you can say in addition to that. Even in speaking, if you manage to add this in your speaking, it will really boost your confidence, not only in your vocabulary, but also your confidence when it comes to speaking in English. Okay. Okay. What else? Certainty, obviously. Okay. Of course, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, a lot of people have been in argument to include this idea, that idea. So, 8 p.m. All right. And so on. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so this time, and your
There's a
cohesion.
specific number of these words we have 10 of this. 10, 10 of this should be
You have a seat there in the other room. Ah, it's okay. We're going to have it in the other room.
in the other room.
Thank you. No problem. Okay. What's your question?
Uh, should be 7 times or say how many times you mention this word.
Oh, which word?
All of them.
All of this. Just one time or two times is fine. No need to repeat it over excessively. As long as you have a variety to use. Okay, that's
But
better.
we should.
Mhm. You should. You have to show that you can use these words. You can use these sentence connectors and cohesive devices. Okay. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So give me one moment. I just give another activity there. I'll be back. James, give me like 2 minutes only.
Yes.
Where were we? Cohesion, right? Okay, so still under your cohesion, you will be seeing a list as well on page 179, or 176, sorry, 179 on PDF, I think. You would see a list of sentence connectors. Okay, so additional, aside from the cohesive devices that you've been using, so you can use, alternatively, you nonetheless, nevertheless, for not only, but you can also use unless, therefore. Okay, what else? Consequently, despite the differences between people's opinions, you know. So you have to use these words. Okay, so there. You can also use the phrases that you see here. As a matter of fact, contrary to the fact, mind-boggling. What else? You know, comply with in the long run.
But no need to memorize all this. We will take 2, 3 from each one and
Yeah,
memorize
that's fine.
the easy one.
Yeah, the easy ones for you. If you're familiar, because the thing about these words, we're already familiar with it. We've read about it, we've come across about it a lot of times.
At the time of the
Ex-
we will forget everything.
Exactly. So this is why, as early as now, I suggest start practicing, include them in your vocabulary, not only in writing, but also in your speaking. Because even
No,
for
sir, whatever we are thinking to speak,
Mhm.
writing time, same words we are using.
Yeah. So you have to change, especially in speaking as well. I've seen a lot of people wherein they're really good, especially in writing. I mean, they could use different vocabulary terms. They've been using complex structures as well. But when it comes to speaking, they just speak casually. So I've seen a lot of people like that. So you have to at least yourselves. You know your weaknesses. You know your strengths as well. So maximize that. The thing about the test is under listening and reading. Okay, as long as you keep on doing practice, you'll see yourselves getting better. Why? Because you get used to the questions. You get used to how to handle these sorts of question types. As for writing and speaking this time, the usage of these together with constant practice and reading, and then you know it's like dedication when it comes to these structures. Okay, so it will be much. You would see yourself improving as well.
Yes.
By the end of your session or your course, I would show you. I can show you your writing the first time. Maybe I can also ask you to write the same topic and then use whatever you've learned here, and then you can compare. And then you would
So
see
I
the
will ask.
difference. Yeah, you would see the difference. Okay? So this is the point. You're not only here to, what do you say? You're not only here to learn the skills, but also it's like a two-in-one course wherein you also need to improve your English level. Okay, so there. Okay, let's continue. The third C this time would be your conciseness. Okay, so under conciseness, make sure that you're avoiding long narratives. Okay, so like the activity that I have given you, well, for those of you who were here this previous days, I think you've left me your writing, right? For both of you? No, for only